Luethcke. I'm a third-year biology major at the University of Texas at Austin. My family comes from Houston, Texas. We're an interesting bunch. We have 2 doctors for parents. My sister is a psychologist, also studying psychology here at UT. So during my first year at UT, I was walking around campus kind of towards my dorm, and I came across a kiosk that said, "Join Texas 4000. We ride from Austin to Anchorage, Alaska to fight cancer." And I thought, oh wow, this is really awesome. I thought it was a little bit psycho, but I thought it was awesome. So I wrote down some information and I carried it back to my dorm. And it was one of those busy times of year where you would just look at your calendar and say, oh my God, maybe I can commit to this in a few years when applications are over, when I know I've got my feet on the ground. And because I was thinking about my mom's story, which I'll talk about later, in the back of my head, and I was like, this is a wonderful way to honor her, and boy, would I love to do it. So I put it in my closet, and I sat and I waited for a while. But then I pulled it back out when I heard about my brother's leukemia diagnosis, and which I'll also talk about later. But for me, it was all about, it's time to do something now. I have the power within myself right now. I can get on that bike. I can go travel to other people who I know are facing these problems, who I know are afraid, who I know don't have information that could potentially save their lives, and I can make a difference right now with what I have. And it's time to do that, because you never know when there might not be a tomorrow. The first encounter I've had with cancer was with both of my grandparents, both my sets of grandparents. On my dad's side, my mama was suffering through breast cancer, and while we were cheering and yelling like crazy, my grandfather was also suffering testicular cancer. But as she fought on and got sicker and sicker, he kept his case under wraps and did not tell the family. He wanted all of our resources to go towards helping her. And it was a really beautiful case of strength that I keep in my heart right to this day. And I remember a quote that was on my dad's road ID that he always rode his bike with, and said, "All you need is love." And it was embodied by his parents, and all my grandpa wanted to do was take care of my grandma. And that's exactly what he did until the day she passed away, and the day they both bravely ended their fight against cancer together. And on my mom's side, my grandee was also a very impassioned and wonderful breast cancer fighter. And she kept her story very much under wraps from my grandfather, kind of in the opposite way. She wanted to take care of herself and to not give my grandfather any reason to really worry. And so she took herself to the doctor every day. She was there by herself during her radiation treatments. And what she went through on her own just speaks miles and miles to the strength she had to have come to know, and the strength that I hope to come to realize on this ride. One of the more pertinent events, encounters with cancer that I've had was my mom's breast cancer case. It really hits home when you're a 15-year-old girl and you're sitting in the kitchen and your mom tells you she's got a tumor above her heart, and you realize that your mom's in trouble, really, really big trouble. But you would have never guessed it by the way she talked about it. She was like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna get it excised, a little bit of radiation, it's gonna be gone." And she was full throttle, let's kick this thing's butt right now, right then. And there was no reason to worry. And her strength carried the whole family through that period of time, and I will never forget how she bravely fought that off. She is to this day cancer-free, and we're very proud of her. She's riding Atlas this year as well. And finally, I come to my brother. That spring break where after I'd picked up the Texas 1000 flyer, my mom had told me that he had been diagnosed with leukemia. And that's when I knew, not my brother. This wasn't going to happen. I was going to do everything that I could possibly do to help right now. And I might not be able to be there to drive him around to MD Anderson, Houston, but I can pedal my bike. I have a body that can be used. I have a voice that can be heard. And I will apply both of them to the fight against cancer. lot of people take for granted is the sheer therapy that this organization gives to those of us who have had a lot of cancer trauma in our life. And through hearing the stories of our peers and the stories of fellow writers, what everyone's been through, what everyone has seen, it feels like we now have a world we can connect with. Someone's been there with us. Somebody has walked the steps with us. And for writers to come, I hope it gives them the same feeling of community and bonding and strength and hope and passion that we hope to give other people on the road we give to each other. And I think that's just really beautiful. And I hope Texas 4000 carries on. I hope in every community that we stop in to give a program to, we speak to hundreds of people. And it's enough for me if just one of them remembers something that might help save their life. Or if one of them is so impassioned by a story of ours or something they heard on the road that they go home feeling empowered and more confident about their own case and their own struggles back at home, and that they can pull through this, they will pull through this, we will have a cure, it will happen, we can do